Alright, and what's good everybody? Quancredible here bringing you another video. This one is going to be more like a follow-up on my Monoskin video, which this one is going to be everything we know so far about Monozone. Now, if you don't know already, Monozone is, I guess to me, more of a advanced technique than Monoskin. Well, it is more advanced than Monoskin, but it's like the next thing you would move on to after you have mastered this. Now, Monozone is kind of like the name implies. Now you take your innate mana and use that to more or less manipulate the mana in the surrounding area. Doing so would obviously make your attacks much stronger than they normally would be, since you're not only using your own mana but the mana from the area. Now, how far can you influence this area would obviously depend on your ability or skill as a Magic Knight. I mean, so far the only Monozone users that we've seen have been King Julius, Mereoleona, and Yuno. And all of them have an amazing control of mana and a large amount of magic on top of that. Now you may be asking yourself, what can you do with this more or less increased field of mana around you? And I would say a lot. Now, with Monozone, the entire area is more or less considered your own, which means that you can cast spells from anywhere or any direction in your said area. Now, how big your area is, I'd imagine would be more or less dependent on the user and how competent they are with it. Like as we've seen Yuno's area is definitely big enough to attack from behind his opponents, as he's done quite often, how he's just been spamming Spirit Storm in the recent chapters. Whereas Julius, his Monozone, he was literally able to cover the entire Clover Kingdom with his zone, which is insane to think that one character can literally cover an entire country in their mana. But aside from that, it's like I said, they can attack from any direction in that said area. So you can attack from above opponent, you got attack from behind as Yuno does. Yeah, they can literally, or like Mereoleona, you can attack from multiple directions at the exact same time. Sky's kind of the limit on that one. Also, it kind of functions similar to Ki, and you can sense your opponent's fluctuations in their mana and kind of predict where they're going to be or what they're going to do next. Yuno is pretty adept with this, as well as Mereoleona. This more or less kind of gives magic users that aren't really physically in tune kind of their own Ki-like ability, which I think is pretty neat. Kind of keeps Asta and Yuno level and gives a lot of other characters something to strive for later on in the story of Black Clover. Also, since the entire space is more or less considered your own mana, you can move freely in this zone. So characters that don't have a magic type that will let them move in midair, like take Mereoleona, she can essentially, if she really wanted to, she can fly in her own zone. So you can dodge things in midair, change direction, as well as move extremely fast, since it's easier for you to move in your own area. Now with Monozone, I think it should go without saying, you get all of the abilities that you previously had using Monoskin, since it's just a higher version of that. So if you need a fresher up on what you get out of Monoskin, I did recently make a video about that. I'll put a link in the description below so you can check that out if you haven't already seen it. Now in terms of like who can use this, I'd imagine any Magic Knight that's willing to put in enough training to further their Monoskin all the way up to that level should be able to use Monozone. I'd even almost say that it almost comes in like levels per se. Like take when Leo was fighting against the vice captain of the Crimson Lions, he was starting to be able to predict where his enemy was going to attack, and he was kind of more or less getting a feel of spreading his mana out. But at that point, that's when he kind of just collapsed. Now granted, he can do this, but he can't yet attack his enemies from behind, or probably not even change his direction in midair. I mean, he does have basic Monoskin, but we're seeing him more or less kind of develop Monozone techniques. Also, in terms of how long someone can keep this up, I'd imagine that it's highly dependent on the user and what they're doing with it. Now I highly doubt they have their zone up like the entire time. I feel like they kind of just like activate it when they need to and then just drop back down to a Monoskin after the situation is kind of over. Now unless you're fighting an opponent that I feel like would be really dangerous, like I feel like Yuno probably has his zone up like in this current Shadow Palace arc. I feel like the entire time he's more or less fighting, he kind of has his zone up just to kind of make sure nobody or nothing catches him off guard. Now, in terms of characters that I think have Monozone, I definitely think that a lot of the captains possess a Monozone-like ability. Like I think Nozel, Charlotte, Fagolion, I definitely think those guys have Monozone at their disposal. I don't necessarily think that Real can use Monozone or Jack. It just, to me, doesn't really fit within their fighting style. And as far as characters that I think will get Monozone in the future, I would love to see Noelle get adept at Monozone, just because I feel like it would work with her Valkyrie dress extremely well, as well as Leo. Leo definitely needs this, and seeing as his older sister and more than likely Fagolion can use it, it just would work really well for him. Plus, he's already kind of picking it up, so Leo's actually one of the characters whose Monozone I'm more or less kind of really excited to see. Also Mars. I feel like Mars with Mastery over Monozone would be extremely dangerous. Like Mars with Monozone being able to summon those rock knives from all around you and just attack with them, or that giant rock sword. Yeah, Mars with Monozone would definitely be a problem. But yeah, that about wraps it up for this one. If you guys have anything you wanted to add or any questions about it, just let me know down in the comments. Aside from that, thank you guys for liking and supporting, subbing, all that stuff. I really greatly appreciate it, more than you guys probably would understand. But yeah, I will catch you guys in my next video. I'm out.